Hello and welcome. Today we will talk about employee benefits textbook. The first chapter is entitled Introducing Employee Benefits. The book entitled Employee Benefits, a primer for human resource management professionals by Professor Joseph Martocchio provides you comprehensive information about the topic, and obviously it will be useful both academically as well as from a practitioner point of view. Employee benefit experts work with HR generalists who oversee all HR activities for employee groups and share developments in employee benefit offerings. Employee benefits professionals also work with managers who are ultimately responsible for carrying out HR policies, such as approving paid time off, knowing when to encourage a distressed worker to seek help through an employee assistance program. Let us not forget that most people work for a living and either currently have or will likely have access to at least one employee benefit. So think about all those benefits that you receive from your organizations right now. If you're not working, think about what kind of benefits you will be receiving or you expect to receive. So learning about employee benefits will actually help you to understand the components of your own personal benefits and the employer's rationale for offering them. So you'll be better prepared to take advantage of all the relevant benefits that are offered by your current and future employers in the organization. In Chapter 1, you'll gain a better understanding of, first of all, the fundamentals of employee benefits and their overall fit in the total compensation scheme. Second, the field of employee benefit practices is very large, so you'll get an idea of basically what are some possibilities in this area. Third, you'll understand the legal and regulatory influences on discretionary employee benefit practices. And you'll also understand the strategic or long-term thinking of benefits and various approaches to strategically planning a benefits program. And finally, you'll see how information is used to develop strategic benefit plans for the organization, so they are aligned with the mission and vision of the organization. Therefore, as HR consultants, as employee benefit experts, you become a partner with the organization's senior managers to make sure the company, the firm, the organization, or the institution achieves its goals for the long term. Let us look at how organizations define employee benefits and explore some of those. Organizations have some discretion in how they design benefit plans, tailoring their plans to the needs and preferences of their workforce. So in order for any organization to design a benefit program that helps the organization recruit and retain very, very talented workers, the benefit planning process should be aligned with the organization's strategic plans. As an introduction to employee benefits, in this first chapter, the author gives you a good idea of the origins of employee benefits, various legally required benefits such as the Social Security Act of 1935, the State Compulsory Disability Laws, the Family Medical Leave Act or FMLA, in the discretionary benefits, things like income protection programs, health protection programs, and paid time off. You'll also have a better understanding of the strategic importance of employee benefits as well as the different types of information that is used in strategic benefit planning, such as the external market environment as well as the internal company environment, which obviously we all need to know in order to have a recommendation or in order to design a good benefits plan for all employees. Over the coming weeks, you'll also be able to describe how employee benefits fit into the total compensation function. Some of the main points are that, first of all, employee benefit refers to the compensation other than the hourly wages or annual salary that we as workers and employees receive. Second, employee benefits are a part of a company's total compensation. third, total compensation does include both monetary as well as non-monetary rewards.
So when you're looking at the total compensation, keep in mind that core compensation is inclusive of hourly wages or the annual salary, or what we know as base salary. And then you have adjustments to the core compensation, which is based on seniority, cost of living, merit increases, and other incentives that are provided to the employees. And the person-focused, legally required employee benefits could be inclusive of Social Security Act, Workers' Compensation laws, Family Medical Leave Act, Patient Protection Affordable Care Act of 2010. And the discretionary employee benefits includes disability insurance, life insurance, retirement plans, paid time off, and other accommodations and enhancement benefits that employees might be receiving at any given time.
So total compensation includes core compensation, any adjustments to the total compensation, legally required benefits, as well as the discretionary benefits. Monetary compensation does represent the core compensation. In non-monetary rewards include things like protection programs, paid time off in services, and most compensation professionals call them employee benefits. So you'll also understand some of the recommendations and suggestions for how organizations might actually lessen the entitlement mentality that we as workers might have toward employee benefits. Overall, keep in mind that employees generally view employee benefit as entitlements. And often employees either are unaware of or undervalue their benefits. Today, however, benefits tend to account for about 30% of total compensation costs. To lessen the entitlement mentality of benefits, companies should communicate the features and costs of their benefit programs to all of their employees in its truest sense. As you can see, effective communication in regularly reinforcing all the benefits that are offered to employees and presenting it properly in either written, oral, and online formats, or a combination of all of them, can be very helpful and fruitful for all human resource professionals. So it's mandatory to effectively communicate all of these benefits appropriately in a timely manner with everyone. Employee benefits describes compensation other than the hourly wages, so we've established that part. But these employee benefits can include health care, paid time off, accommodation and enhancement programs such as tuition reimbursement programs. So some of you are going to school right now and your employer is either paying a partial or maybe all of it. And some of you are obviously sponsoring your own academic programs.
And employee benefits overall refers to the compensation other than the hourly wage or salary. So employee benefits are those additional or discretionary benefits that employees receive besides their base salary. Employee benefits can be organized based on the three roles they serve for recipients in two broad sources of the benefits. The three fundamental roles of benefit programs are protection programs, paid time off, and accommodation and enhancement benefits.
There are three fundamental roles that characterize benefit programs. First is the protection program, second is the paid time off policies, and the third is accommodation and enhancement benefits. First of all, the protection programs help guard against income loss that is caused by things like unemployment, disability, and serious illnesses. And in this environment, unfortunately, we have over 25 million people who have filed for unemployment during the last 3 weeks of this COVID-19 era. So you can see that the protection programs can be very useful for employees as a benefit. Second, the paid time off policies tend to compensate employees when they are not performing their primary duties under particular circumstances such as vacation or in illness. So again, in today's environment, this could be very useful when people have developed, let's say, COVID-19 symptoms. So therefore, they have to stay home for about 14 to 15 days until they are testing negative for the virus, then they can go to work. The third point is accommodation and enhancement programs which promote healthful living opportunities for employees as well as their family members. So they can include things like wellness programs, flexible work schedules, especially for parents who have young children, and obviously if their spouses work evening hours, they would prefer to work morning hours. This way they can be home with their kids during at least the 24-hour period. And also it can include educational assistance programs where employees want to better themselves or at least have development opportunities outside of work in their professions. Overall, remember that total compensation includes both core compensation like wages, salaries, and adjustments, as well as employee benefits, which include compensation that is other than your base salary or wages that you receive on a weekly or annual basis. These core compensations are usually dispersed in one or two ways: hourly or annual salary. Adjustment to core compensation means that employers or managers can adjust the base pay for one or more reasons, like increases in the cost of living, differences in employees' job performance, or even differences in employees' knowledge and skill. So going to school, getting a certificate, getting a degree, or getting additional training in the corporate arena can actually get you an increase in your hourly wages or salaries, which should be the case. Cost of living adjustments or COLAs means that there are periodic base pay increases often set to periodic changes in the U.S. Bureau of Labor Statistics Consumer Price Index or CPI. So the cost of living adjustments enable workers to maintain their purchasing power by adjusting their base pay for inflation at any given city, state, or even nation. Most companies choose not to apply COLAs or cost of living adjustments, but the practice is common often in unionized in government workforces. There are also seniority pay systems which reward employees with periodic additions to base pay according to the length of their service or overall tenure with the organization. Seniority pay systems are based on the human capital theory, which states that employees' knowledge and skills do generate capital that is known as human capital. Unionized organizations still continue to base salary on tenure or seniority. However, the number of these types of workplaces is somewhat declining. Merit pay programs increase salaries that are determined by differences in job performance. They tend to be permanent increases to base pay according to the performance of each employee. Merit pay programs reward excellent effort, they motivate, and they tend to help retain employees into a job or organization. They're also expressed as a percentage of current base pay with higher percentage increases for better or higher performance. Incentive pay rewards employees for partially or completely attaining a predetermined work objective. Incentive pay tends to fluctuate according to the attainment of individual or group goals or even company earnings during a given quarter or during a given year. For incentive pay, common plans include piece rate, gain sharing, as well as profit sharing with employees. Last but not least, there's the person-focused pay. Person-focused pay tends to reward employees for acquiring new knowledge and skills through designated curriculums, workshops, certificate programs, or even classes that are sponsored by the employer or the organization. In person-focused pay tends to recognize the range, the depth, the types of skills, or even the knowledge that employees are capable of applying to their work every single day. Let us now talk about the field of employee benefit practice. Most companies offer at least one benefit to their employees. We need to emphasize the importance of benefits in achieving legal compliance and competitive advantage in how companies actually achieve these goals. Benefits professionals, as I mentioned earlier, do work within the broader human resource management function or as an external consultant. So these benefit managers plan, direct, and coordinate retirement plans, health insurance, other benefits that an organization offers to its employees. Opportunities for employment as compensation in benefits managers are projected to grow at an annual rate of about 6% all the way through 2024. So over the next 4 or 5 years, the forecasts are that this profession will continue to grow. So it's a good area of human resource management. Let us now talk a little bit about the discretionary benefits.
Employee benefits are derived from two broad sources. That would be legally required benefits and those that are considered to be discretionary. The legally required employee benefits could be old age, survivor and disability insurance, healthcare insurance, Medicare, unemployment insurance, workers' compensation, family and medical leave. In discretionary, could include dental or vision care, life insurance, retirement programs, jury duty, military leave, and tuition reimbursement programs, along with many other benefits that employers sometimes offer.
Discretionary benefits tend to fulfill several main roles. There are protection programs, there are paid time off, there are accommodations and enhancements. So protection programs offer protection due to income loss or illnesses that unfortunately we're impacted by from time to time. And paid time off allows employees time for many purposes that are important to them personally or for their family members, or in some cases, obviously, if they are getting or acquiring new skills for their specific professions. And third is the accommodation and enhancement, which offer improvement opportunities through programs such as wellness and education assistance, among many others that organizations might be offering to their employees. Keep in mind that protection programs are an important benefit. So protection programs include disability insurance for work and non-work related illnesses and injuries. Life insurance, for example, provides a deceased employee's family members financial protection. Retirement plans provide employees a retirement income. There are usually about 3 types, which include defined contribution plans, defined benefit plans, and hybrid plans, which we'll talk about in future sections. In terms of paid time off, most firms provide income to employees when they're not working. Examples can include vacations and holidays. Union workers can also negotiate added benefits in their collective bargaining agreements. Accommodation and enhancement programs include, first of all, the mental and physical well-being. Things like stress management opportunities or programs or even workshops or training. Family assistance programs like child care within the plant or organization or facility where employees work. Skills in knowledge improvement opportunities like tuition reimbursement. And programs to better manage daily challenges like transportation services. So all of these fall under accommodation and enhancement programs which companies offer. Now we can talk about the origins of employee benefits. There are different forces which account for the legally required and discretionary benefits that we all as employees and as professionals enjoy in the United States. And perhaps the same forces might be having this influence in other countries as well. Government established various programs to protect individuals from disability in employment, for example, in the US. Historically, the legally required benefits provided a form of social insurance. Industrialization during the 19th and 20th centuries, as well as during the Great Depression, did lead to the design of initial social insurance programs that were aimed at, first of all, preventing destitution of unemployment or injured, and second, stabilizing well-being of the dependents, and third, enabling retirees to maintain subsistence income. Also, if we go back almost a century ago, we can see contemporary discretionary benefits which were evident. For example, early on, American Express offered retirement plans for their employees. And the contemporary discretionary benefits became permanent in the 1940s and 1950s due to the federal government's wage freezes. There were also welfare practices used to describe employee benefits, which are perhaps more typical in some of the other countries now compared to the United States. Contemporary discretionary benefits are usually defined as anything for the comfort and improvement, whether it's intellectual or social, of the employees that go above and beyond the traditional wages that are paid. However, these contemporary discretionary benefits are not a necessity of the industry, nor required by the law. And the National Labor Relations Act actually legitimized bargaining for benefits between employees and their employers, often through representatives known as the unions. As a result of all of this, many employees tend to see benefits as an entitlement that they should have or they must have. Let us now talk about the legal and regulatory influences on discretionary benefits practices. First of all, it is necessary to distinguish between private sector employers and government employers or public sector employers, because different regulations influence discretionary benefit practices in these two different sectors. In 2016, private sector companies employed about 122 million American civilian employees. Most of them were for-profit organizations. There are conflicting goals between employers and employees, which necessitate laws and regulations to protect employees from unfair treatment of their employers or their managers. Prior to the passage of the National Labor Relations Act, employees basically had little or no rights whatsoever. That means managers could do what they wanted to do by laying off hundreds of employees when profits were low.
The legally required benefits tend to provide protection programs to employees and their dependents. So the Social Security Act of 1935, Workers' Compensation, Family and Medical Leave Act of 1993, and the Patient Protection and Affordable Care Act of 2010 are all designed to not only help the employee, but also his or her family members. When it comes to the legal and regulatory influences on discretionary benefit practices, there are specific laws which regulate the application of employee benefits, such as ERISA. So ERISA is the Employee Retirement Income Security Act of 1974, which protected private sector employees' retirement benefits. Unfortunately, we've seen employees sometimes being fired, let's say in their 9th year, when the company policy says that in their 10th year they would be fully vested. So some managers practiced illegal or unethical firing decisions, and ERISA sort of helps us be protected.
Before 1974, employees could lose retirement benefits as well. So regulations such as the Social Security Act of 1935 and ERISA of 1974 protect employees from this in today's environment. Public sector employers include the U.S. federal, state, and local entities. There are approximately 2 million employees in the public sector in the three branches of government: the executive, the judicial, and the legislative. In government, employees need to operate within a certain budget to provide pay and benefits to their employees. Finally, various laws require the government to pay contract employees the customary wage in the local area. Let us now talk a little bit about the strategic planning for benefits programs.
Strategic planning is simply a series of judgments that are made under uncertain conditions and forecasts that companies direct toward making strategic decisions. Strategic decisions guide the activities of the companies in the market, and strategic planning supports overall business objectives at any given time. We also have to be concerned about competitive strategy, which is the planned use of company resources to sustain a competitive advantage over the competition within the industry or within the market. Companies have to look at the relationship between strategic decisions and employee benefit practices. So a company might have a competitive strategy that leads to their human resources strategy and overall benefit strategy. As a result of those general strategic decisions, they might move into general employee benefits practices, which ultimately leads to the specific employee benefits practices like retirement plan alternatives.
Often, high-performing companies align total compensation programs with business objectives. However, increasingly we're seeing that companies do emphasize the importance of hiring diverse workforces to promote the inventive processes that are necessary for innovation in their industry, for their customers, in the work processes, and obviously to gain and retain loyal customers. Strategic planning involves making judgments that companies direct toward making strategic decisions. Business professionals tend to make two kinds of decisions: strategic decisions and employee benefit practices. So strategic decisions basically means we're seeing human resource professionals as partners with the organization's senior leaders to achieve our goals in 2 years, 3 years, 5 years into the future. Employee benefit practices basically means that there's a positive and significant relationship between strategic decisions as well as the design of employee benefit practices. It has to be researched, it has to be practiced, and then it has to be aligned with the organization's overall mission and vision for the next 2, 5 to 10 years. Strategic planning should support the overall business objectives of any organization. We also need to be concerned about the competitive strategy, which is the planned use of company resources like technology, the human resources, the overall capital, to create and sustain a competitive advantage in your specific industry. There are different types of strategies, which include human resource strategies, total compensation strategies, and benefit strategies. The human resource strategies includes all HR activities that an organization is involved with. Total compensation strategies include base compensation as well as the benefits practices in the organization. And benefit strategies look specifically at how benefits affect the organization's competitive advantage. Strategic benefit plans use information from internal as well as external organization's environment to project what effect different strategies might have on the company's competitive advantage, both short-term and long-term. Benefits decisions are based on two questions usually that managers and human resource professionals ask of themselves. First, does offering a particular benefit support the company's benefit strategy? And second, what is the optimal design for this specific benefit? As an example, let us look at 5 general employee benefit practices that most companies offer. More specifically, ExxonMobil, for example, they offer education assistance programs, which pays 100% tuition cost of employee going to school. Is it true of your organization? It's certainly true of many organizations, and many of my students are taking advantage of this 100% tuition reimbursement program. Matching gift programs, for example, at ExxonMobil, 3-to-1 matching funds for gifts to employees' college. Volunteer involvement programs, grant money for gifts to nonprofits. Flexible work arrangements, adjusting work hours, telecommuting, time off, working late shift, working early shift. All of these are arrangements that many employees like, especially when they're taking care of elderly relatives or taking care of young children. They like to adjust their schedules with their spouses or other relatives. In fifth, life assistance resources like child care, elder care, adoption programs that sometimes employees are involved in when they're adopting a new child, and even managing stress in other benefits that are offered by organizations. Employers have different approaches to strategic benefit planning. One is called the top-down approach. Another one is called the back-in approach.
Top-down approach is the proactive process of regular review of benefit programs, and backing-in approach is the reactive approach or process of evaluating benefits only when challenges or problems arise or when the government mandates it.
The top-down approach is a proactive process. In companies, benefits programs are periodically reviewed and changed as necessary. The backing-in approach is a reactive process. So a company's benefits program is reviewed only when problems or challenges arise or when regulations mandate it. So what information is used in strategic benefits planning? Keep in mind that companies review and interpret several types of information for strategic benefits planning.
2 sources of information that is used for strategic benefit planning includes external market environment as well as internal company environment.
The external environment includes factors outside the direct control of the company. Some factors could include industry prospects, economic conditions, and forecasts that are made by experts in a given city or given state or given environment or nation. Employer costs for compensation and benefits, government regulations of employee benefits, and changing demographics for the labor force overall outside of the organization. Obviously, we have a lot more control in the internal environment of the organization. However, both external and internal, we see that there are changing demographics of the labor force that has to be considered. Benefits needs and wants tend to differ according to various demographic groups of your employees. So we need to offer these benefits in a flexible manner for our workers. And also keep in mind that older workers might prefer more generous retirement plans. They don't need tuition reimbursement programs because perhaps their school tuition loans have already been paid or taken care of by the time they reach older worker status.
The internal environment factors can be inclusive of those demographic changes in the workplace, as well as any agreements that the company might have with their workforce through the collective bargaining agreements.
The collective bargaining agreements specify the terms of employment for union workers, like their pay, their benefits, and working conditions. So collective bargaining agreements were established as part of the National Labor Relations Act of 1935. Research shows that private sector employers spend more money on benefits for union workers than non-union workers. Overall, as a summary, keep in mind that companies possess limited budget to fund the employee benefits. If we had unlimited resources, we could get everything that all employees wanted to keep everybody happy. But obviously that's not reality. So we can look at it from employees' perspective as well as from a company's representative perspective to see which employee benefit practices should be funded in today's organizations and which are easily dispensable. First of all, if we look at it from employee perspective, keep in mind that our views would change depending on the preferences and the needs of the employee profile that an organization has, or based on the specific needs of a specific employee or individual. For instance, a younger employee may prefer to receive family assistance programs in educational assistance. On the other hand, older workers would be more interested in receiving generous healthcare benefits and retirement plans. For unmarried employees, physical fitness programs and generous vacation allowances might be more preferable. For dual income families, healthcare benefits could be dispensable, as one of them can be covered as a family member under the spouse's plan. For example, when I was an employee in Orlando, my wife had full benefit for both of us. So I did not need to have my employer's healthcare benefits. If we look at it from the company or manager's perspective, offering generous benefits do facilitate a company's overall attempt to both attract and to retain the best qualified employees. For example, a company might offer tuition reimbursement programs to attract employees who are motivated to get a master's degree. Also, employers often design certain benefit programs to satisfy the needs and preferences of their existing workforce. If their workforce mostly composes of married couples, they might offer daycare assistance, life insurance, and educational benefits for their children. Similarly, daycare assistance could be dispensable if the workforce does not compose of employees with children. So there are some differences between strategic benefit plans and benefit practices. The main point is the strategic benefit plans detail different scenarios that may affect the company. In these plans do emphasize long-term changes in how a company's benefit plans operate. Companies establish strategic benefit plans on the interpretation of information that is available in the external environment as well as in the internal environment. Benefit techniques answer a couple of questions. For example, first, does offering particular benefits support the company's benefit strategy? And second, what is the optimal design of this specific benefit if we do offer it? Overall, strategic benefit plans should be developed before setting benefit practices, since benefit practices are used to fulfill the strategic benefit plans. Organizations offer benefits as an important component of the total compensation that is offered to their workers and employees. While many firms offer common elements in their benefit plans, the actual value of the benefits can actually vary widely. For example, an organization can offer paid time off as a benefit. However, a few days of paid time off is much less valuable than several weeks of paid time off. So companies must provide some benefits based on legal requirements, but most of the company's benefits tend to be discretionary offerings. So companies determine their benefits as part of the organization's overall strategic process in order to both attract and retain the right employees. As individuals consider job offers, it is important for them to not only be aware of the type of benefits offered, but also the value of those benefits. For example, employers can choose different financing of benefits. An employee could offer non-contributory financing of healthcare and pay the full cost, Or the employer could offer contributory financing where the employee must pay part of the premium for the health care. The bottom line financial value of the insurance benefit is different for the employee for each of the financing models. If the employee is contributing to the financing of the benefit, for example, the value of the benefit is somewhat reduced. Remember that in order to fully understand a job offer from the company, you should look into all of the benefits that are being offered. The legally required benefits such as workers' compensation are going to be consistent in the same from one organization to the next, and so on. But most other benefits require more information to fully understand them. In this case, you would want to understand how the retirement plan is structured and the amount of the contribution that is made by the employer to your account before you take that job. So you need to know how much vacation in other time off is provided in a given year for you. With the health and the dental insurance, you need to know how much of the insurance premium is paid by the employer versus the employee, and also what type of coverage is actually provided. You need to know how much tuition reimbursement is provided and what services are provided by the employee assistance program. And keep in mind, once you find out how much tuition reimbursement is provided, you need to see whether you're going to be able to use that. Finally, you should understand your eligibility of these benefits. That is, in the job you're taking, are you eligible to receive all of the benefits that is described? Again, if they offer tuition reimbursement for you to do a master's degree or do a doctorate degree, but you have to be there for 5 years before you're eligible, it may not be for you because you're looking for something for the next 2 years before you need to move to another state or city to be with your parent or to take another job or to start a new company. So depending on your goals, think about whether you can actually benefit from those benefits that are offered. And if you can benefit from those, is there a waiting period to enroll? So all of these factors could affect the overall value of the benefit offerings for you before you take on a position. Evaluate them, and obviously then evaluate the competition. If you take a job with another company, what would be the benefit to you? Keep in mind that all companies do not offer the same benefits because their goals are different. So employers use employee benefits to attract and maintain the employee talents to help the organization succeed. The type of employee the organization is looking to attract may be different, and therefore a different employee benefit offering might be needed. Employers may use a benefit package as a way to differentiate themselves from other organizations as well. The key is to provide a good fit between your benefits offerings and your overall strategic goals for the company. Good luck.